Yes, what's happening? Welcome to Team Coystar's Kitchen. So, Mr. Coystar's Kitchen today is just going to give you a few little tips on cooking chicken. So, I know when you're into fitness, or even if you're not, chicken prep is normally a pain in the ass. So, I've got a few little tips and ways that I do it. Hopefully with me showing and sharing with you, it makes life a little bit easier for you. So just a couple of things. So I have here my free range chicken. I use free range organic, whatever I can get my hands on really. And I have got chicken tenderloins. Now, chicken tenderloins can be a bit of a pain in the ass to prep because they always have a lot of sinew on them. So they normally have this sinew vein that runs right down the middle, which I hate, man. And when you cook it and you get this big gristly bit while you're eating is off-putting. It's not very nice. So I've got a little tip, the way I prep it, and I get rid of this little bit. And also I get rid of this little bit from the outside here as well. So I'm just going to show you how I prep it, and my method of cooking as well is kind of like cooking a steak, but I get a nice hot pan, I get all my meat or chicken prepped, all ready to go, a nice hot pan, and then I cook them with the sinew line down the middle, so they get the hottest part of the pan. And if there's a tiny little bit left, you wouldn't even know it was there. With the heat of the pan, it just cooks it out, shrivels it up, and tenderizes it. So that's kind of my little tip, but I'll show you what I do anyway. What I'm going to do now is prep this chicken, get it done, show you how quick and easy it is. You don't even need a chopping board. You need one little knife, as long as it's kind of sharp and you're not going to cut your fingers off, but the sharper the better. And I'll show you my little tip of getting rid of this stringy little sinew line out, which makes life easier for you. Okay, so what I like to do is take the top piece of the fillet. So you want the chunkiest bit towards you. If you're right-handed, you want to have the chunkiest bit of the fillet to your left hand, okay? And what I like to do is maybe about 1 centimeter down, I pinch a little bit of the sinew that runs through it with my knife. Obviously mind your fingers, but you slide that underneath, you make like a little gap, you hold on to it, and as you just roll your knife, slide your knife down, but you want to angle your knife so it's just up ever so slightly so you don't take too much of the meat off. You slide all the way down, then you're left with this little bit here. You see how I've taken this middle piece out, this real gristly bit down here, without taking too much of the chicken away, too much of the meat off. And then what you do is you just either hold, see what I do as well, is I haven't even got a chopping board, I do it all in the one tray, okay? I'll bring this just on the ends there and I just nip that end off there. Now, some people might not worry about it. If you're cooking it on a barbecue, you might want to be able to use it up. However, I've got dogs, so they love all these end bits. So what I do is I save all these, cook them up, and then the dog gets a nice little treat at the end of it as well. So you can see what I've just done is I've just taken this end bit, which is really gristly, comes along to the end, and I'm left with this nice little bit of fillet, this tenderloin. And all I want to do is just take off this nasty little bit off the edge. So with your hands, and you always want to keep this hand nice and clean so you can touch the tap, or you can put your knife down, pick it back up, you can touch other things, and then you only have one dirty hand, one clean hand. Now what you do is you just move up these little skinny bits at the end here, and again, about 1 centimeter away from the end, you just run your knife down, leaving your knife up so you don't take too much of the meat. You hold your chicken up away from your body, and you just want to cut away from you, right? So you always leave your arm up, and it's nice and light. That little bit's off. That bit just goes down the side of the pack, okay? There's one bit done. Nice, easy. Second bit, okay, so what we want to do is keep the fat bit towards my left hand. It's the hand that's going to be touching it. We want to go about 1 centimetre down. Just slide that knife right down, and it basically comes up at the end of the tail when there's no more sinew left on it. So once my hand's up, I'm just going to glide my knife through, take off that bit on the end there. Now you get left with this tiny little bit left in here. Now that's not a problem. As long as your pan is nice and hot when you first start, you lay your chicken down flat in the pan, you wouldn't even know that was there, trust me. Now that bit's ready to go. How easy is that? 2 bits done. Next bit, it's hard to see sometimes, but you know where it is. The thicker bit of the sinew end in your hand, centimetre down, put your knife under, slide it, drag it across the end, hold it up, cut away from your body so you're not going to cut yourself. And as you're cutting, you bring your hand up and bring your knife across to make it an easier cut. There you go, 3 bits done, and so on. So you can see how easy it was just to cut 3 little tenderloins just there. Now, I've got a pack of, well, it's what, 500 grams, 600 grams. So that will take me a couple of minutes. I know I'm actually a chef, so I can fly through pretty quick. Some people it might take a little bit longer, but it's not a problem. It's not a race, and you obviously want to mind your fingers. If you don't like touching the chicken, you can just wear rubber gloves. Make sure the rubber gloves or the gloves that you wear are quite tight, so you can hold the chicken nice and tight, and then less chance of you cutting your fingers and things like that. Now, I'm going to fly through this, cook it, and then I will show you how I cook it in the pan. My method is, once the pan's nice and hot, I chuck all my chicken in it, and then I maybe cook it for 4 minutes on a high heat, and then I'll wait till it's nice and golden brown, and then I'll turn it over, cook the other side for the same amount of time. But what I'll do is, once it's cooking for maybe 2 minutes on a high heat, I'll just reduce the flame or the heat just ever so slightly, and I shouldn't have to keep tossing and turning this chicken. It should just cook the same amount of time, both sides. Cooking time maybe about 8 minutes, and then it'll be perfect, nice and moist. You can actually leave it in the pan, and it will rest ever so slightly, so the juice will come out a little bit, and that actually cleans your pan off you a little bit as well. So if your pan gets a little bit sticky, don't worry about it, just let your chicken rest for a couple of minutes. Some of the juices will come out, and then you can take your chicken off and put it into your Tupperware, and boom, prep's done, easy. Okay, chicken prep is done. Here we go. There's a kilo of chicken there, and I've got a nice hot pan. Using avocado spray, it can actually take up to about 500 degrees in heat, so it's not gonna be toxic and burn. I've got a really, really hot pan here ready to rock and roll. So I'm just gonna give a quick spray and then get my chicken in the pan, and I'm going to lay it so this tiny little bit here comes down in the bit I've taken out, the sinew bit. This is the bit that's going face down on the hot pan, okay? Although one of my little tips is as well is that I don't season it just yet. Sometimes if I do season it and I use salt and pepper, I'm happy to put that on, but I don't like to season it until I've turned it over. What happens is, if you say you use like a chipotle seasoning or a spicy chicken rub seasoning or something like that, when you turn it over, it sticks to the pan and burns. So the best way to do it is cook it plain, and then once you flip the chicken over, that's when you can season one side of it. Another thing, I actually like to season my meals individually when I'm cooking that meal to eat, so I actually know how much salt that I'm putting on each meal. Again, I don't mind using a little bit of like paprika and garlic powder and things like that. I'll chuck on there, but again, I won't do it until I've actually turned the chicken over. Chicken's been in about 2 minutes now, and already you can see that chicken's starting to go white. So that's the protein cooking. What I'm looking for is the white to cook up to halfway, and then I'll just check a couple of individual pieces to see if it's got a nice golden brown look to it. Once they've all got a nice golden brown, I will then turn it over. I'll cook the other side exactly the same, and then it's done. Easy. Paprika. Pepper. Mixed peppercorns as well, delicious. And a little bit of lemon pepper seasoning. Who doesn't love lemon? Love lemon. As you can see, cooked exactly the same on each side, okay? Break it down the middle, juicy as hell, that's cooked perfect. So all I'm gonna do now is actually just turn off the heat. I'm gonna take the pan away from the heat as well. I'm just gonna move that along. And I'm just gonna let it rest there for maybe 2 minutes and allow some of that juice to come out. It'll clean up the bottom of the pan for me. Also, when I put my chicken aside and I tray it up, I'll put it in a glass bowl or anything but plastic, because I don't want any of this toxic crap that comes off the plastic. So I generally put them either in a big bowl or a glass bowl or whatever. Even metal, I don't care, as long as it's not plastic. Even though it's BPA approved and all that, just better to be safe, innit? You don't want all this toxicity coming out into your food, and nah, no good, no good. So, that's done. Delicious. How good is that? And that was like maybe 3.5 minutes each side. And we're done. See what I'm saying with the, see how I just let that rest for just a minute, and all this sticky bit here, which is a pain in the ass to clean, you can use your chicken to actually clean the pan as you go. And like I say, leave it in there for a minute, the juices come out. If I'd have left it any longer, it would have been a little bit easier, but I'm ready to just give it a clean straight away. I'll fill it up with some warm soapy water, and yeah, job's done, easy to clean. Because who wants to be spending hours scrubbing dishes? Who wants to take hours cooking? Like, I'm a chef by trade and I love cooking, but I don't want to spend hours in the kitchen cooking. I just want to eat the food, man. And there we have it. Voila, easy. Took me about 12 minutes to do that. Now, again, I know not everyone's a chef or they have bare kitchen skills, you know, but it's fairly simple doing it this way. However, you can buy your chicken in the big breasts, you know, and you just butterfly them. Maybe I could do another video on just butterflying the chicken, and by butterflying it, I mean you like cut it down, open it up so it looks like a butterfly wings, and you thin the chicken out, it cooks a lot quicker. But I like the tenderloins because I feel like chicken these days is just, I know it's probably pumped full of something, but I feel that the bigger the breasts are, like they're just chewy and they're just not nice. So I prefer going to the tenderloins. There's a little bit more work with it, but I've got this down pat now. So by taking out that sinew down the middle and cooking that sinew side on the hot pan, first of all, I find that it really cooks quickly, and honestly you don't even know when you're chewing it. Like, I know my uncle, he's finicky, he will take every tiny little bit off. That's extreme, but that's he doesn't like any gristly bits either. So again, I eat like 5-6 meals a day, so a lot of my chicken, I like to eat a lot of fish, but when I do my chicken and steak, I don't like the gristly bits in. It's not very nice. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you might have learned something. Leave a comment below. If you have any tips for me, feel free. I'm always looking to learn. And if you found this video helpful in any way, leave me a comment. And if there's anything that you feel like is a chore in the kitchen and you would like me to demonstrate or show you how things can be made a little bit easier, whether it's just for your day-to-day living, whether it's for your family, or whether you're contest prep, or you just love your food, you know, and you want to find quick ways of doing things, I've got loads of ideas and I've got loads of tips and tricks. So yeah, feel free, send a message below, and peace out, have a good day.